Sivaram Prasad, the visiting faculty at IARE. Today we will talk about fabrication model development, but specifically about design thinking skills, creative, critical and innovation, how they are related, how they are interconnected, or what is the importance of it, and how we have to get that. If you see in industrial life, it is always revolving around customers. That means the people who are going to use and the products, actually the matter which is going to be used, and the services. Services are provided by people, and these products are manufactured from the industry, based on the industry, with the people. And if you see these, the customers' requirements will be in the form of need, convenience, or comfort, or specifically some other specials. What happens is industry identifies these and they strive to serve the customer with relevant products and services. And in olden times, it was mostly reactive. That means you go to the customer, you identify his problem, then work on the solutions, offer the product, and satisfy the customer. And that time, customer was also limited, and they were expecting limited issues which are visible, nearly visible to them, and they are not going to look at much beyond the future, into the future, or much beyond their visibility. But with the changes in the times, the expectations have changed. Customers are expecting many things. They have an accessibility for a lot of new things. And whatever we thought as a dream yesterday, it has become a comfort or a need. And we are going much beyond that, which unimaginable things also, today they are becoming possibilities. And if you see, customer is like this, expecting differently and very fast, demanding. Industry serving from the industry, it becomes very difficult. And normally industry always aims at sustainability, predictability, and certainty. And industry wants to drive the market as per a plan. Suppose if you leave it everything to the customer will plan, he will not plan anything, he will just expect. And if there is nobody to serve, then that becomes as a waste. So what happened is, industry now wanted to work in a changed manner. Instead of a reactive, it went into predictive manner. And feed the customer not by just taking his needs, but go one step above and think of his comforts, what he will be expecting tomorrow, and how we are going to see. Always give the convenience so that he will get into that convenience and then comfort mode, which you can drive it. You can see in many applications nowadays, mostly in communications, data transfers, money transactions, new appliances, all these things, they were designed with not from the customer, but from the elements of customer, what he expects tomorrow. What he expects tomorrow, industry is giving today itself, so that customer will get a delight. And so when you are exploring a lot of ways and means to develop products, mainly what happens is, industry is always interested in raw material to returns, and people interested in resource to products. So both the things were served by the industry by taking help of an inventor and commercialization. So both are done by the entrepreneur and industry. In this case, what happened is, the inventor has become very important, and fabrication and product development has become the major critical activity, because all other things are only ideas, manual things, but fabrication, product manufacturing, product design, these three are the real physical materialistic element which is going to reach the customer. And after using that only, customer is getting either happy or embarrassment or frustration, all those things. So this fabrication, product development, it has become the critical activity. This is done mostly by design and manufacturing. Design, it has got two variants. That means two methods of doing it, forward engineering, reverse engineering, that we will see later. And in the design and manufacturing, if you see, both require different types of skills. In product design, the main thing is generating the idea, creating the need, converting the need from need to the feature. So, if you see the olden days, the design was not very, very significant. It was just being done by a man, whatever he thinks, whatever he has got a knowledge, with his knowledge he was doing it. Later, design process with industry, it took the main stage. And product development and design has become the real activity which is going to generate a starting point. Then design thinking is now emerging. That means with the changes in the customer expectations, design thinking is nowadays taking shape. So if you see the design, it comes at the intersection point of three things. One is business. That is the main thing where you look at viability. Viability means when you make it, there should be a resource, a money. Resource, when it's converted, money should come so that it can be reinvested. That is a cyclic development. Otherwise, if money is not returned, the cyclic development will be very difficult and it will die. And nobody appreciates a bankruptcy or a company starting and dying. So viability is very important. Viability is on from the resource side. But how about the process side? A process is feasibility. That means a technology should be available, engineering methods should be there. So whatever you select, that idea, it should be feasible. If it is not feasible, it is just like a story. You can write in a story and that it is of no use except for some mental satisfaction. And the desirability, that means there should be a person who is going to take that product. If there is no user, what we will do with taking the items and all. For example, you see, on December 31st, everybody wants the sweets and fruits. And everybody wants the greeting cards and all. Once January 1st is over, you will not find so much of demand for that. So within one day itself it is there. Same way in Diwali and all. For one day, that entire industry works for that. In the normal day, there is no desire. That's why you should see, there should be people who are doing it. And for converting this, people should be there who has got a passion and professional capability to convert this. And if you see the design, one side science is there, another side human interpretation is there. So both are being combined, and design is the main integrating part which is going to serve the human necessities by applying science. So the design is very, very critical. And design is the one which is going to convert the thinking into a product. If you see old cultural things, when there were only the needs were there, that means the physical needs, the safety needs, the social needs. At that time, people doesn't bother about service, what type of service, how it is service. Just they want the function to be served. So if it serves the function, that's all. Nobody looks at them. That was in the early days. That time, that manual handicrafts and handworks, they were doing it. Later on, it got into consumer base. That means when industry came into the picture, it started looking at consumers, what their needs, what their things, what their styles, what their aesthetic values, and their respect in the society, brand values, all those things were looked at. Now, what is happening is, you have used a lot of products, there are a lot of varieties, a lot of industrial competition, and a lot of manufacturers have come. So everybody started giving a lot of choices. So today customer is thinking, he is selecting the choice as per his choice. Today this choice, tomorrow some other light of varieties is changing. So what happened is that consumer base is gone, now directly touching the human. That means directly want to be associated with the person who is requiring the service. This is where the design thinking is come. Earlier design process, it was just looking at the customer. It takes the needs and it serves the purpose. That's all. Whereas now, human thinking is changing. So designer and design thinking has to be continuously with the user. What is the needs? What is his changings? What is his varieties? All those things. That is why it is more associated with the user than earlier. If you see earlier design process, you can see customer needs. First you will identify, then you will convert that into technical parameters. From technical parameters, you will make the part drawings. Part drawings, you will get into the drawing dimensions. Then you start manufacturing. After manufacturing, you will control it, and then you will start giving product to the market. You are in touch with customer only in the beginning and at the end. There is a lot of time in between these. And by the time you come to the market, earlier days there was no changes. But nowadays there is a change. Nowadays he's got more accessibility to different countries, different all over the world. So what is happening? Different developments also is getting into that. By the time you come, maybe his choice is changed and his preference is changed, his taste is changed. So what is happening is some of the products are not able to meet the customer demands nowadays. So this design process, there is a need to change the methodology. So with this, what happened is, first let us get into the people, what they are looking at, what they are anticipating. So what is that they are anticipating? We will start today so that when they really require it, we will be ready with that. So for that, we have to empower the people and you have to change the processes. And people should have how to guess tomorrow and how to estimate what is required for tomorrow. And today you should be ready and today you should start. That means tomorrow you want to reach Delhi means today itself you should start. It is not that I will think today and I will reach immediately. So that means the mindset has to be changed. A mindset is you have to be ready with doing everything new with the creativity, and you have to what you think you should be able to do it with a practical application. You should not fail when it goes to the market. For that, every day you should have a different setup. For example, you see engineer. Engineer is mainly your mind will be with a creation or a problem solving. What about the scientist? He will be thinking, exploring. That means whatever his mind, always he wants to do something new and explore something new. Suppose you take a nurse. She will always or he will always be thinking of caring the person, next man. Similarly, police or military, they have their own. That means the people who are entering into this field, they will have a mindset. Similarly, a designer's mindset is on the creation and the problem solving. What you have to do is, as a designer, you should develop that. And first thing is, you should think that you are designing for a customer. It is not that you are designing for yourself and so your preferences. Your preferences should be matching with the customer, then it is okay. Otherwise, your preferences, you have to keep it aside and work for the customer's preferences, his options. So, it is going into a solution based. It is not that whatever I know, I will design. No. Whatever customer want, you have to solve it. So, with that thinking, you have to use your knowledge. If you see 3 different processes of olden days, crafts, design process, or which is going to come is a design thinking. This is what we have to focus now. That is the design thinking. slowly design process has to be upgraded into design thinking. It is not the design we will throw it off. See, as a design, it is the core knowledge. The process only changes. That means earlier we were doing customer interaction only once and collecting it. And we never bothered about in between. And at the same time, we took only the needs. What is the problems? And it is just a touch at the surface level. So we got into features, functions, and mass production. Then whatever technology is available, we are working from our point of view. And it is mostly driven by some instructions and reach. We could able to reach the customer very fast, very effectively, but we are not able to touch the people at the deeper level. That is like emotion, feeling. There was nothing. It is just to give it, serve it, and go. It is not like that family oriented or human to human or person to person. That touch and feel was not there. So in design thinking, we want to incorporate that. How you will incorporate? You will go to the customer. You will ask and take it. Then you will show it. Is it what you want? You will tell, no, something changed. Then you will change it. Then you will get a feel that he is involved in it. And at the time of developing the product, you will show it. Is it what you expected? Then he may change it. And then finally, you will give a product. Is it the function which you wanted? And after function, he also feels, I am also involved in this. So the product has come. Or he may change little. So that means it is user-centric and human-centric. It is not industry-oriented or designer-oriented or technology-oriented. Technology, design, industry, everybody is ready to serve the human. So the approach is from the human to product, from the user to the product. That means the design is shifted, technical solution is shifted. So the main principle is user and their needs are the main business. It is not that my knowledge, my technology. I will use the technology to meet his needs. And earlier days, we were designing a product and going to the people thinking that it will improve. And if there is a problem, we suddenly rush and tell, this is how you have to do it. Today, it is not that. What he wants, we'll go to him. His experience, we also feel. His difficulty, we also experience. Then work toward that goal. So, first, the experience and solution, we are trying with him. Then we are thinking that this will solve and this will be more closer to him and it will be useful for that. So the approach, belief, everything is changing. Human-centered, creative. That means every day you may be thinking new and iterative. That means every day you will be fine-tuning it and you will be collaborating with the person. And first you will make some product model, show it. Then if it is workable, then it is going to be the next stage. And in this, there is a 3-4 phases which are very important, that emphasize, define, and idea, prototype, like that. If you see these principles, they are continuously iterative. That means it is not just a step-by-step linear. And always there are some ambiguities. You are solving that ambiguities. And when you are solving that, it is not that you are thinking that it is a boring one. You are doing it with a curiosity. That means you always want to solve that and clear that ambiguity and get into a clear mode with a lot of interest and passion. And while doing this, since there are a lot of confusions and a lot of changes, you should be always creative. It is not that old method will work. It may work, it may not work. So you have to be very creative. And if you see the stages, there are about 5 major stages people will be thinking. And all the methods, everything is grouped into this. It is mostly followed by everybody. And these are all the charts which are available every time, everywhere. If you very closely look at it, the first one is empathize. That means you will be asking questions, getting that details. And from there you will get into define mode, that where You will be formulating the problem or product, or you will completely conclude that yes, this is what we want. Then you will generate a lot of ideas how to make it, how to design it, how to do that. Then you get into proto mode where you really make a sample, try it, then go for a real model, do it, test it, interface with customer, real user, real application, real function. So what happens is you're going through different things. And in between what happens, whenever suppose idea fails, you will stop there, again go to the first mode, then think it. It is continuously revolving around. And here if you see the human center and user approach, earlier we were thinking about business and technology. Today we are thinking about user and the product. How the requirement is there, how he is servicing, what are his pain points, where he is getting value, where he is getting emotional touch, where is really desirable or not. That first activity. Then based on that, product feasibility and all those things are coming. Whether the product is really giving that extra touch what the customer wanted. And in the same way, users' experiences are considered as a major thing than just business, people and design. Business, it is not that I will give everything to the customer, whatever he wants. To give it, again, sustaining business is important. But what you are thinking is, it is not the front face. Front face is the user experience, product, human center. From there, you are trying to give what he wants. And in the first phase, it is like learning the inquiry. That means what he wants, that you will be learning it. It is not just collecting. You will go to him. You will see old files. You will see the already existing people's whatever done. And you will consult with the experts. And you will prepare questionnaires. You will interview the people and try to collect as much information as possible. And this is the first step. And you have to go through and find out, not like just, suppose if you go to a doctor, he will just tell, I have fever. He will not give medicine for fever. He will try to get more information, that means insight into that, what you have eaten yesterday, how it has come, and where you went yesterday, is there any travel, is there anything. That means these are all the things why he is questioning is trying to find the insights of that, how that fever has come. In the same way with the customer, we will also take lot of questionnaires and you will go deep into the customer's experience so that we will get into the root cause of it. And there are different ways of questioning it. Suppose if it is a product development, this is some sample. It is only a sample. It is not that these are the questions you have to ask. These are some of the samples. You have to frame your own questions based on the customer, based on the product, based on the location, all these things. And in a major way, you have to see is what is the job required for the customer and what are his pains. That means what are the annoying elements, the troubling elements, where he is thinking to get rid of it. And at the same time, which are the gains. That means where he is very happy, where he is excited, what is that he wants. These three. And from that, you have to come to gain creators. That means how you can improve his gains, how you can help him, customer, for giving better than that. In the same way, pain is relieving. You have to relieve the pain. Otherwise, just by gain creators, it is of no use. You have to first relieve his pain. So, how you will solve the pain? You first remove. That is why when you go to a doctor, though he'll be looking at the pain, where from it has come, first he'll give a pain relief so that you become comfortable. Then he'll start gain creators. That means how to remove the pain, how to totally eradicate, and how to give a comfort. So with these things, you will design a product or service. This is what the value you are creating for the customer. Otherwise, suppose if you do a product of your choice, you will not get a value from customer, will not see a value in that. It may be valuable for you, but customer is not seeing value in that. Then it is not matching, it will not work. These are some of the questions. Formats of samples and all taken from websites and all. You can select wherever it is. But generally, the questions, there are different varieties. Some questions you will ask to get elaborate answers. That means open-end. That means, for example, you will ask, how about your journey? Then you will start explaining from the beginning to the end. Some are closed-end. That means yes, no. Are you comfortable or not? Have you got train or flight? Is it reserved or unreserved? Like that. That means yes, no only. Some are closed-end, but it is with objective type. There are 3-4 varieties, 3-4 general probable things which you will be. See, these type of questions when you will ask is yes and no, you want to know, that means which customer doesn't want at all. Yes is one thing, but no, you should be very clear. That means no, you should not touch that. Or then you should ask, why no with the different objectives? Is it because of this, because of this, because of this? At the same time, with your knowledge and capability, you have limited things. That time you will be using objective type. Sometimes it is biased or unbiased. Sometimes you want to take the customer into one route. That type of questioning is not good for this design case. When you want to get customers' real intentions and needs, it should be totally unbiased. That means the question should not try to put you into one direction. It should be unbiased. Then what value customer is giving for each question or each feature or each function, there will be some ratings, priorities, and you will have some checklists. Which one to ask, which one not to ask, where to give, where not to give, something. See here, what, where, who, when, all these things, they play a very important role. This is another type of thing. So after this, you have collected all the information. You have a lot of information. Now you have to sit and then coolly think and segregate it and create with the help of some experts or without, or with taking the customer itself. What you have to do is, you have to see which is very important to the customer, which is very valuable, where customer is giving value. Some guidelines is, there are some with reference to materials, function, they are common. That means with the material, if it is a gold, it is different. If it is a plastic, it is different. If it is a imitation, it is different. Or like that, original material, steel, stainless steel, corrosion resistant, like that. The matter is, the material plays main role. At that time, it is a function and cost. What happens is, the minute you want better material, the cost also goes up. So you have to play some strategy, cost and a function. You cannot give every function at the lowest cost. At the same time, if you put very high cost, you cannot get market acceptability. So function and cost, you have to play some influence. That means at the cost of this, that one, compromising or some gain. Whereas when it goes to the communication, a product should be able to tell on its own. Why this has become more important now is, if you see earlier, it was a different sale. Today, it is all through advertisement or through supermarkets, where at times you will be going with a lot of information. At times you will be just going. And when you look at the product itself, you should be able to communicate what it does, how it is important to you, what is better than others. So that communication, the label, the message, the code and decode, it has become very important. Suppose there is a liquid and it is in a bottle, there is nothing, you just keep it, nobody will buy it. Because nobody knows what it is, whether it is a liquid or if it is a medicine or if it is a washable item. Whereas, if you put a nice sticker telling about what it does, then some people will buy. Suppose if you put some brand, some people will buy. Suppose you put some celebrities advertisement, some more people. So the communication is one value. And if you see the experience and spiritual, these things are more of heritage values and elders, people, memories. This has got a human touch. Some parts you have to design with this. It is not that everyday soap you will design with a value of experience and spiritual. But when you are giving a gift item, you will think of these two, value of experience, spiritual design. Otherwise, when you see the gift, you should tell, oh, that man gave for this birthday, like that. Some communication. That is why the greetings and nowadays the gift items has become a major activity. That means there and all the design values are increasing. It is not unlike a normal pen. A pen for gift means it will have a big, beautiful cover, beautiful paper packing, or a what is that? Enclosure. These are all taking major role. Otherwise, for pen, for writing, why all those packing and beautiful colors and all? It is not required. But it is going to give the value of experience so that the customer, when he is giving a gift to other person, his image is increased. So these are all different values. They all have to be taken into account. And similarly, other values is social, economical, cultural, educational. These are all different things. See, it is not that these just 3 or 4. You have to think in those lines when you are working with products or some services. You have to touch all these things. Then only your product gets into the human touch. That is where you get into the human-oriented design. And similarly, some problems will be there, you have to solve it. And some of the things which you are thinking as a problem, it is not really a problem. It is an opportunity to serve him. So that once you relieve his pain or problem, you get better acceptability, accessibility when compared to others. That's why this is very, very important. You have to be very closely looking into what actually, out of all the data, which is really the problem-oriented area or a pain area. This is the first 2 one are more with a human touch, human association, human experience, and is a structured one. Whereas this idea, here only the main thing comes as a creativity, a brainstorming, new things, you have to get into that. Here, you'll be working as if you are going to be feeling that. So, your heart and soul has to work on this and really give a solution, really get into a idea which is very creative so that it will excite the customer. For that, what you have to do is, you have to see the new one. That means, what new things you can give it for new opportunities, newly. And you have to see, is there anything R&D going on with the local experiments, local things, or you have to see some of the things which are from world. Is there anything good in that? Is there anything bad in that? Or what is currently happening? All these things you have to see. Unless you have a look at this, you will not be able to give a creative solution for this. And when creative idea doesn't come just like that, unless you look into this, you will not be able to give a better product. And here you are going to make the real work of getting the ideas, and you have to get into a framework how to give this. This is a pure creation work. Generally, for creation works, they will not have any standards. Standards and standard procedures will be there for existing practices or existing products or some of the things where you have to evaluate, analyze it and all. Here you will have the data. From the data, you have to create an idea. That idea It has to solve the purpose. So this is a very crucial one. And you have to give a lot of time, lot of different culture for this. Otherwise, just like that, you cannot get an idea. So here you have to go through a lot of research and resources, and you have to make a lot of drawings, a lot of sketches, and you have to develop some models. Models in this is not like a proto, but whichever is solving, which is not solving, and you have to go very deep into the subject. Here is the subject which it is very important, and this is the main thing which it can be done by an expert only. Not just like that a trainee cannot do this. Here you have to get ideas, get into the prototype. So you may get a general idea, but workable idea means expertise required. And after this, it is a prototype, a model making. Then after making the model, you have to see whether it is as per your need, is a customer's thinking. This is a general physical model. This is an implementation site where you are working with your hands and you are finding what are the difficulties to when you are working. For example, you see in a class, a cooking class, or any item you are making, rice or puri or this one. When the demo is being done, it looks very easy. But when you are doing, you will really feel a lot of doubts. Same doubts customer also will have. So the doubts, if you have to get it, you have to physically do it for yourself. It's just a thing. You make a puri dough and then make a round puri. There are different ways. Some people will just roll it and try to do it with an expert. He is an expert. Suppose some people, what they do, they take a big lid of a bottle and just press it. You will get a circle. These are different ways. Some people will do it with expertise. Some people will do it with just a small element. You just roll it. You don't bother about the circle. Just cut it and take out. Or some people just go to the market and buy it. You will get a round this one. So these are all the different things. While doing with your hand only, you will know all these things. And then finally testing. That means when a product is made, you have to see whether it is working as per your need or not. That you can really test with the function. When it is functioning, it should not break, it should not fail, or it should not leak. You will get all the other things only when you are really trying it. So in this trial, it is better you try with some of the known customers where they will be helping you, they will be collaborating with you. And if there is any problems, they also will give some solutions, some suggestions, and you also can try all these things. It will not get into a bad mood. Suppose if you launch a product with this without testing, if it fails, that's all. It is an end for that product. Whereas if you try this with the customers of known, they will give you feedback, and when you that feedback you solve it and give it, they will also promote that, oh, this component, this product will not have that problem. They will also work for you. It is something like a collaboration. And all the things, if you group it, they will form into this type of a model, which is developed by some experts in the field. It just gives all the things in one page. It can be a summary sheet. And you will see different things. How the process is coupled with the person. That means when you are design thinking, each stage, you are with customer, you are with a person, you are with an user, or you are with an expert, everywhere. And whenever there is something to be changed, you are going back and doing it. Otherwise, the design core engineering is a knowledgeable job, specialist job. But this process is creating the human touch, user-centric, and reducing the failures, and immediately correcting it when there is a gap in the expectation and the reality. This is how the difference is. Old design process and a new design thinking. You can see the interlink and where everywhere the touch with the people, and not only touch with the people, you are also involving your hands, your body, your mind, your emotion, your hands, and also the final thing is the feel, experience. You are experiencing this. Earlier, it is not like that. You will design, it will go to some place, someone will tell, and that time you will defend your design, and some other man, he will be struggling with the problem. You will not understand. There were some gaps. Though it was a good one as a scientific method for industry, there were some gaps which were not able to meet the customer expectations to the extent what he wanted. So that gaps is getting cleared with this design thinking. And main thing is the curiosity and the problem solving and your behavior, the touch of the human from both sides, involving the customer and also you getting involved in solving that. That only builds the relation and it gives value to the product. So design thinking is like this, it is working. Why there are less steps or why there are less things is, any steps, any standards you'll have for already existing one. It is a creative, that means a new one. So new one, the main thing is expertise is main thing. You should be expert in this field. You should know more knowledge in this field. That is about the design. Whenever there is a need, how to convert that into a feature, function, and what is smooth means what it is related to the in the component, how the smoothness can be given. Suppose the comfort means how that coolness or light or surroundings to be given. That is an expert's job. For an expert, you don't require any these procedures and all. He knows everything. And thinking is creative thinking. See, the ideas, it is not that yesterday's problem again is repeating. It may repeat, but not that everything repeats. Some new problems will come. Some new diseases will come. Some new products that is required. So you also have to think in a creative way. You have to find. Creative means it is not like earlier from selection or choice. You have to brainstorm and think differently and you have to get into that. The third one is both are there. Expert is there, creative thinking is there. But there is no motivation or motivation. Motivation, there are two things. One is self-motivation. Self-motivation means you have your own desire, you have your own passion. You don't like working for external things. Like any other pain, hungry, asleep, you are working for your passion. And you will not have passion for every time. There is some external motivation also is required. That means the thing should be conducive. There should be some bonus for doing it. Some rewards, reflection, differently. Different people think differently. So these three are very important for making the design thinking or product making a successful one. Here, there are two types of thinkings. Creative thinking, critical thinking. And when you say thinking skill, they both are required, both are available, and both will be there with people. Creative is, that means you are leaving the world accepted thing and you are creating new one. Critical means you are applying the old one in a very structured way and you want to utilize it very effectively and efficiently. It is not that one is important, one is not important. Both are required. At different stages, different thinking has to work. For example, creative. Creative means you are generating a lot of ideas. You are thinking of new possibilities. You are thinking of alternatives. Whereas critical thinking means you have a lot of choices. You will select from that. You will analyze all the things and you will take it. And you develop possibilities by comparing, by contrasting, by looking at it from earlier experiences. You will not select all the things. You will select very specific things. And it is not that you will just try that, get an idea. In creative, it has to be open and you have to generate new. It should be novel And some ideas, suddenly you will get it, which are not regular. People may laugh at it also, but it is a very novel one. So, whereas a critical thinking man, he will never get such things. He will be thinking very logically. If logically it is not correct, he will not even give that idea. And same thing, in creative, mostly it will be original, or it is a combining of 2-3 things. And finally it is coming out looking like a new one. Whereas in critical thinking, it is more of a logical, and it is a perspective of the individual which is giving that. His view only it will give. It will not go beyond that. These are all different things. Divergent. Divergent means you will get lot of things. And at the end of the day, you will get so many ideas, you don't know what to do with that. That time, critical thinking is a helpful one. It analyzes all these things and it will bring it to one particular one, which is a very specific one. That's why starting is required creative, and for doing and ending, you require a critical one. So these things are differently available with people with differently in mix, and you have to be selective in this. That means what time you have to take creative, what time you should be critical. But both are there, and it is not that one man is very creative, one man is very critical. It is not that 100% creative person, 100% critical. Everybody will have the mix. These are something differently how people will work. For example, if you are painting it. A creative man, he imagines the painting, he thinks in mind, and he will start taking a brush and paints it. And he will sketch the paint, and he will get the image, and then finally he will complete it. Whereas, analytical or critical man, first he will think, what is the painting, how it has to be, what colors it has to be, how to design that, how to sketch that, all these things. You can see in a very simple way if you want. You see nowadays, puzzles and all is there. Artist will make just like the freehand. Whereas a student, a teacher, what he does is, he will make an artistic view, and then he will put it on a Xerox, graph paper, or some sheets where you have squares and dots. He will give to the student and tell that connect the dots, you will get the picture. Or squares, you fill it with a paint, a red color, blue color, white color, and all. You will get a painted sheet. So an artist, which is a creative skill, a critical man is converting that into a normal skill. But how to draw the sketch, a critical man cannot think. Suppose if you say a cell, a man, a dog, a horse, critical man will think how horse is there. He will search it. Then from that he will try to make it. Whereas an artist, he will just image, he will get it in the mind, and then he will make the thing. These are the two things which are there. And the same way, if you see water, if you go back to your houses, you will see wells. In a well, you will be taking the water daily. But whether you have noticed or not, always the level will be same. When you are taking water, the level should come down. It will not come down. At the same time, you put a bore into that, within half an hour it will become dry. If you see these, what is that is, in a well, water comes continuously. It comes so continuously that whatever you are taking, it is not that completely you will take out, wash out. In the olden days, you take for bath some 2 buckets, for washing another 2 buckets, and for vessels cleaning another 2 buckets. The time between that is 1 hour, 2 hours and all. Within that 1 hour, 2 hours, ground will again give the water. So always it looks same. Creative is like that. Continuously it will be giving and you will be taking the ideas and all. Whereas if you come to the critical, it is like a water tank which is filled. What you will do? You will fill the water tank with a motor and then from there you will be using it. And water is get drained and again you will fill it. Here the thinking is you will have a plan. Morning half an hour, evening half an hour, bore well, switch on the motor, switch off the motor. Whereas in a well, such things are not there. It is a free flowing. It spontaneously comes. Whereas in critical, it is a method. It is a preparation. There are some guidelines. In the same way, a creative man will tell like a story. Whereas a critical man, you think of a police or a lawyer or a CBI inquiry being done on you, how it will be, the questions and all. It will be like that. So these are the two different skills. But when it comes to the company, to be successful in this present world, you should have the critical thinking. Because you can select a better one, you can work with that, you can very well give a logic and you will make it a success. But organizations, they feel the creative thinker is the main asset. Why? Because as a doer, critical thinker is good. But as a developer, a creative man is required. Otherwise, a critical man, he will always think only the old one, copy one, duplicate one. But whereas a creative man, he is the pioneer in doing new one. And he will give birth to new products, new companies, new processes. And that newness only will give the economic growth. See, for critical, it is just living. Whereas a creator, he generates the wealth. That means for tomorrow, he can give the product. Whereas for today, critical is important. That's why industry respects both. And as a professional, your main thing is you should be innovative, designing, problem solving. At the same time, you should have the capability of critical thinking and problem solving, communication. All these things are required. Generally, some are inherent talents. But it will not be that in a God's creation, all 100% is not given to anybody. At the same time, 0% also is not given to anybody. There is always a mix. And with that mix, you have to build the skill and you have to learn and develop it. That's why critical thinking and creative thinking, both put together only, it forms into a creativity or an innovation. A creativity means it is an idea. And a design thinking, that idea, it is making it a design. And innovation is one which is practically making that creative idea into the application. So creativity, design thinking, innovation, all these three are the output side. And creative thinking and critical thinking, they are on the generating side. That means one, like our breathing, goes inside and whatever goes inside, if it is not coming out, also death. If it is nothing is going in, that is also death. So whatever goes in, it should come out. The going in is easy, or sometimes going in is difficult. Sometimes coming out is easy. Sometimes coming out is very difficult. So you should have the skills of both. This is some differences of a design thinking and a creativity and innovation. Design thinking, every stage it will be working with the person and it will be formulating. Whereas a creativity and innovation, it is not working with the user focus, it just generates. That means it is like Brahma. He generates and he doesn't bother about the next one. Whereas design thinking, he bothers about the user also. That's why to start with, you should have that creativity and innovation. And at the time of serving the person, you should have the design thinking. Then only it serves the better. And creativity is just a mental process. It is not that I am creative, so that I am giving this. So this creative thinking, critical thinking, creativity, innovation, all these things put together only, it is giving the product. That's why entrepreneur is more important here. He is only connecting the person. That inventor is different, critical man is different, and innovator is different. And entrepreneur, what he does is, he brings in all the people and he makes the product and give it to the market. There are some questions how you help creativity. It is not that you should be born with creativity, but if you question this, you will get answers. And if you analyze that answers with a critical thinking, you become a creative man. That is like what I told, an artist. Earlier days, artist means artist. You and I cannot do any art, but today it is not so. There is a big business from, you can see, they send a drawing and they send a square drawing sheet and they give color printers, and if you paint it and if you see it, you will be excited that you have made an artistic drawing. Like that it has come. That you can see it. That is by this type of questions, by this type of squares, by this type of dots, when you connect it, you get a better one. That's what a compliance or innovation, if you see, collecting the dots and being passive, consuming, memorizing, replicating, all these are one type. And against that, if you see innovation, active, learning, producing, processing, these are all, that means these are all the skills you can definitely try, learn and develop it so that you become creative. Over a period, with practice, you can become creative. Though you are born, because as a person, you are already having that small skill. You have to develop that. And you have already having a critical skill. You have to develop that. So both the things, a man who is very creative, he should think about compliance. A man who is very compliance oriented, critical, he should think of innovation. These are the qualities. That is why in organization, as in the schools or as a student, you have to develop these skills and get a mix of it. It is just an innovation where it is that entrepreneurs comes into contact. Business and technology is always there, but it is the market which is asking for an innovation. When it is asking for an innovation, innovation will be there with one inventor, and that man, he just invents. And there will be one person who is doing, he doesn't know what is that new one. So entrepreneur, what he does is, he connects these both and he serves the market. This is what is there. That is how the industry is working. If you see this, as a creative process, it has got some phases: preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification. And the same way, there are some themes: analysis, evaluation, imagination, synthesis, and all. A creative process and a creative thinking role, it is more involved in one or two areas, that is synthesis and imagination. And it is used in preparation, elimination and verification. That means that to start with, creative is more. And the same way, creative thinking, critical thinking and creative process, it is working more in the case of analysis, evaluation and incubation, this type. See, what happens is, it is not that only one skill is sufficient. You should have both. And it is not that one is best, one is worst. No. There is nothing called one best, one worst. Based on the situation, based on the event, based on the location, and more importantly, your role and duty. At times, you will be playing like an employee. At times, you will be playing like an entrepreneur. At times, you are playing like a customer. At times, you are playing like a manufacturer. At times, you are a father. At times, you are a student. At times, you are a son. So all these things, you will be playing a different role, and duties are also different, and you have to work in a different way. It is not that I am a man, I always work like this. No, if you are thinking like that, you will be a failure. So creative, critical, innovation, all these things as a mix with the time, with the event, you have to work. So if you see as a summary, creative thinking, crafts, man, brain dominant, handwork, R&D, product design, it is all one side. And if you see on the critical thinking, scientific structured methods, analysis, convergent, industry oriented, and it is a body related works. It is a man machine work, customer need, functions, manufacturing. This is all one side. Both put together only is a design thinking. And you have to put both to meet the future demand. And at that time, just a design thinking means innovation should be there. Both with the innovation and design thinking, new product should be developed. And a new product development and a commercialization entrepreneur will do. And that is how he serves the market. It is like, if you see a waterfall from the hills, waterfalls, it will be beautiful. It is a nature's giving energy to the world, and it is not a programmed one. It is a natural eruption. It comes out from the hills. That is a creative thing. And if it is just left, it will go onto the ground and it will just flow into the everywhere, wherever it is, the low level is there. That's why you have to find a place to store it. And that store, if you're continuously storing, it overflows. That's why you should have a dam where you will release it whenever you want, and you will direct the flow into a particular side, and that forms as a river or a canal. And when canal is flowing through, it will reach the sea. In between, this water will be useful to the society. This is how the nature is there. And in the same way, our product also. When an idea is there, it is a creative idea. You should allow it to come as many ideas as like a waterfall. And then bring it into the store it, and create a dam, and then release in a convergent way, one by one, after analysis, which is useful and which area. Suppose in one area there is no rain, that area canal will be released. In one area there are rains, in that area canal will not be released. Like that, where there is a need, where there is a customer, you have to direct that flow. That is an experience or a wisdom or a critical thinking. Whereas creative it is a child, like it is an energy. It is a just flowing out of the energy. That is a creativeness. And as a flow, it goes into the usefulness of the product. And in the same way, if you see, in a very lighter way, if you want to tell, animals in forest, they are the free nature and they are creative. They do everything at a freestyle, spontaneous. There is nothing called do it like this. Whatever comes to their mind, they will do it. Whereas, come to the circus, same animals, they will be doing, but there will be a master behind it. They will be particularly dancing as if it is their own, but it will be done for a customer, for a people, for an entertainment, for creating a business. It is something like that. So circus is one side, animals and forest is one side. Animals in the forest, they enjoy their own way. Here in the circus, they look like enjoying for the benefit of the customers. So circus animals, they are not very comfortable. So what the new design thinking or a new innovation, what they have done is, you see nowadays, they create big zoos, about 30 acres, 40 acres. It looks like forest. Animals will have the freedom, but a restricted freedom to move in one particular area. It is very big. About 2 acres land, if it is given to one animal, it is big. So it will be enjoying its own life. At the same time, people like us, when you go, we also enjoy that nature. So what finally it is, the world craft and a new industrialization, both put together, it is becoming a new entrepreneur and a new innovation, new design thinking. It is like a zoo of a big zoo where everybody is enjoying, where everybody is getting the feel of that. So with that, if you see yourself, until now we have talked about industry, all those things. What about you as an individual? Here somewhere you want to do something and you love to do that. World is one side, society. It needs something. And you love something, but you are not good at that. You are good at something. And if you get into the market for your living, you are paid for something else. So if you see, I am very much interested in making drawings, artist. But I studied doctor, medicine. And the world needs like software engineer. And I am working like for example, like when in a real estate agent, for which I am paid for it. You see the difference. Profession is different, passion is different, mission is different, and real need is different. If you are like that, the life will not be very enjoying. And the best thing is what the world needs, what you love, what you are good at, what you are paid for. For example, you take a doctor or an artist. I mean, artist in the sense, a singer. World needs a singer, and you love to sing, and you are very good, like a big singers, like, and you are paid very heavily, like Siddh Sri Ram. World needs him, and he loves to sing like that, and is very good in that, and he is paid high. So the reason for being, that means he enjoys the life. That is the greatest life. So we all have to think in those lines and get fit into that. It is, if you on one side and industry on one side, payment on one side, and your work on one side, it is not a satisfied life. So you have to think how to get into a best of your life. And very all the best. And thank you for this session.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.